Live.
All right. 5:30 and the meeting is called to order. I want to thank the board members from again attending remotely, and we welcome all the people that are viewing the meeting. You have the agenda before you. It's fairly short. If there's no questions or concerns, I'll go ahead and ask the motion. We set the agenda as listed. Do we have a motion?
Motion, Ricky.
Ricky makes a motion. Who makes the second?
Wynn will second.
Wynn seconds. Roll call. Wynn?
Yes.
Ricky?
Yes.
Bruce?
Yes.
And Alan?
Yes.
And yes for me too. You see your staff reports there. You can read that at your leisure. Discussion items. Starting school, we need to let Mr. Rhodes talk to us about this.
Yes, I got a statement here I want to read, and I'm sure each of our board members will probably want to make some comments talking about NTI days and the start of school. In March 2020, the governor recommended all school districts cease in-person instruction and start NTI instruction. Lincoln County was one of the first 4 districts to comply with this. It was later recommended to finish the year out on NTI. Lincoln County complied with that, and I definitely think this was the right decision at that time to do that. On Monday, August the 12th, all superintendents in the state of Kentucky were asked to join a Microsoft Teams meeting with the governor and commissioner of education. We had heard rumors circulating that the governor was going to ask schools to start in-person instruction after September the 1st. However, during the meeting, the governor recommended delaying in-person instruction until September the 28th. This date was a surprise to many, including myself. Numerous superintendents, including myself, questioned the word recommendation. We quickly realized recommended meant mandated. Districts would receive consequences for not complying. What consequences do you ask? The first included the school superintendent, local board chair, local board vice chair, and board attorney to participate in a conference call with the governor, commissioner of education, and director of public health explaining why a district would dare defy a governor's so-called recommendation. Additional consequences included a possible executive order from the governor to close our school district, a possible order from the Kentucky Department of Public Health closing our schools, or finally, the Kentucky Board of Education adopting a Kentucky administrative regulation requiring all schools in our district to be closed. And all of this was stated in a public meeting. Upon reviewing the so-called recommendation and looking at COVID-19 rates both in Kentucky and Lincoln County, I used my authority as superintendent to declare the school days from August the 26th through September the 25th as NTI days. Please remember, this does not mean we are not going back to school in person this school year. This just means the earliest we can start in-person instruction would be September the 28th. Since then, we have also learned that our insurance carrier, Liberty Mutual, who is also the largest school district insurance provider in Kentucky, will not guarantee liability coverage for COVID-19 related items because of the so-called recommendation from the governor. So what this means is if we defy the order or the so-called recommendation of our governor, there's no guarantee if a lawsuit from an outside stakeholder that our insurance would cover us. Now, I quickly realized, being in this position, most lawsuits that come a school district's way does not start out in the thousands of dollars. It does start out in the millions of dollars. So I just wanted to read this statement for our stakeholders know that this was a decision that I used using my authority. And I'll turn it over to you, Mr. Blankenship, and ask board members if they have any comments. Okay.
You know, the in-class type instruction, I don't think there's any good substitute for that, but you really don't have much choice on this, do you? I mean, it's not.
No, in my opinion, especially with the issue with the insurance, I don't think we have a choice.
That's what I'm thinking.
Yes.
Board members, any comments or questions?
I can understand where we don't have the insurance and all that, where we can't defy their order, but I know there's other districts that have went ahead and said they're going to have in-person school learning, and I didn't know if anybody else had heard anything about what they were doing or if they'd had any reprimands already.
I can tell you what I know of. There are 3 school districts that would be. The first one was Williamstown Independent, which is in northern Kentucky. The second was Greene County, which is a little closer to us. And the last one is Hardin County. Those are the 3 that have come out and said that they're not going to do that. I'll be honest with you. I'll be surprised if they stick with that. But as of now, they're saying they're going to do that. I couldn't imagine their board attorney looking them in the eye and telling them that you may not have liability to cover you during this time, because we're in a world of lawsuits, not just in the school setting, but outside that. So, again, I don't know exactly what their thinking was on that. I know there's a lot of strong opinions, and I do empathize with those in our district. We had 67% of the people that want to come back, and I empathize with that. But as far as I know what they're doing beyond that, I don't know. But as of now, those are the 3 that I've read about.
I got another question too. What was they having some sort of meeting today with the commissioner and some of the superintendents, or
There was
at 5:30?
There's actually a meeting today, yes, explaining. I think right now I'll just be honest with you. I think there's backtracking being done by the governor and maybe the commissioner of education, because it was blatantly told to us as superintendents what would happen. And again, it was in an open meeting. I've shared with you what it says, but it seems like now they're saying they didn't say that. But I can promise you what I've read to you is true.
Any other questions?
Yes, Mr. Rowe. Since that's a recommendation, I was reading through some of our documents and then was reading through an FAQ document that's been put out by KDE about plexiglass, and they are not recommending that. So is that, when we actually get back in person, is that something that we need to look at not using because they're recommending it not be used?
The way I understand it is, from my understanding, KD didn't want it to be the only thing you used. Basically, if you use plexiglass, it's not a substitute for a mask. So you use plexiglass and a mask. Today, during our opening day for teachers, we did have Diane Miller from our health department talking. She says plexiglass can be used. She said it's not an ideal thing for her, maybe danger of how sturdy it could be. But there's no saying that we can't use it, but it can't be the end all, to say it the best way.
Okay. Any other questions? If not, that's all the comments you have.
Yes, I do. Yeah.
We'll move on to the next item.
Mr. Blankenship, it looks like Jenny Cooper has her hand raised. She may have some input there.
All right.
Okay.
Ms. Cooper, you want to come on?
No, I don't. I'm sorry.
All
I'm
right.
out.
All right. Maybe just waving hi.
Thank you anyway. All right. Mr. Rowe, you want to talk about the data security?
Yeah, this is something we do every year. This is just basically saying that the board has seen this document. It's a data security and breach notification best practice guide. Basically what this does, this gives guidelines if there is a security breach to the data of our employees or our kids. And it gives timelines and different House bills that address exactly what we need to do. So just want to let you know that we do follow this. If there is a security breach, to my knowledge, has not been one since I've been here, but this is what we would use, and this gives the time frame of when we would contact various stakeholders that it affects.
All right. Thank you. Any comments? Let's go to consent agenda. You've had a chance to look over those. I'll entertain a motion to approve as listed.
My motion to approve, Ricky.
Ricky, who's making the second?
Wynn will make the second.
Wynn makes the second. Roll call vote. Wynn?
Yes.
Ricky?
Yes, sir.
Bruce?
Yes.
And Alan?
I vote yes, but I got a question while we're at it. On these deals where we're doing the fundraising activities and such, I mean, are we raising ourselves to liability and that sort from contact between students and other people?
Technically, and I did get to talk to health department about this. Technically, no, as long as they're in groups of less than 10 and are still doing social distancing. They said as long as we do that and follow that, then we're in good shape.
Okay. I join the vote as well, and the motion carries 5-0. Let's go to the action items on the next page. Most of these we've already discussed at length, but the first one, Mr. Rowe, AT&T mobile hotspots.
Yes, after the last board meeting, we've reached out to see what the cost would be providing hotspots for stakeholders who at this time do not have internet access. We've actually gotten a pretty decent price. The price that we're hearing is we can get the mobile hotspots for $20 per month. The original price we heard was roughly $50 per month. So this is a lesser price for this. This is an unlimited data plan. It actually goes up to, I think, 32 gigs. Once they hit 32 gigs, they may slow that down. But 32 gigs is plenty to be able to do a monthly, what we're asking students to do online. What I'm asking is this, if a motion is made, is to give me permission to contract with AT&T to do these hotspots. You know, my goal would probably be start out with 50. If we need more, maybe go higher than that. Try to use our money wisely. The main thing we need to let our stakeholders know, we're using our CARES money to pay for these. This is not something that we intend or can afford to do year after year. This is just during that pandemic. And also, there's going to be folks out there that these hotspots will probably not work because you have to have cell phone service in that area in order for the system to work. Now, we did find some good news out from AT&T that we can point these hotspots through Lightspeed, which we use here at the district, which allows us to filter what students can access and what they can't access. We had concerns that we would not have any control over that. So there is a process in place that we can do that. So the thing I've got for you to decide is, do you want give me the ability to be able to start trying to get some of these hotspots?
You've heard the recommendation. Any comments?
I think it's a great need. It's a good opportunity for us to reach out and help our community during this time. So if y'all don't have anything, I'm ready to make a motion to approve the contract with AT&T.
I accept your motion. Do we have a second?
Second, Bruce.
Second, Bruce. Roll call vote. Wynn?
Yes.
Ricky?
Yes, sir.
Bruce?
Yes.
Alan?
Yes, but I got a question again.
Yes, sir.
How we determine who gets them and who don't get them, I guess. I mean, because you know what's going to be said. Some people's got internet already, and they're going to say, well, they're paying for yours and this, that, and the other. So how are we going to work that situation?
Is we're working on a system right now, basically using our Frisky coordinators as being the contact where they would fill out an application to get one of these. The first thing we want to do is we can go online and type an address in, and they'll tell us if they can get internet at that house. So if it's somebody that truly can get internet at that house, that's probably not going to be the top person we're going to try to get these out to. We're going to try to get to the people that don't have internet. And we truly need to know the people who, we're going to have them fill out their free introducing lunch forms with these. So we'll know people who qualify that will need that. But I do have a concern that I hope people won't take advantage of us in this situation. We want to provide as many as possible. But, if we get to the point where we're doing, say, 500, like some districts are doing, you're looking at, $10,000 a month we'd be paying for that. And signing a one-year contract, that's $120,000. So we're hoping people will truly be honest.
That's what I was getting at. I mean, I don't have a problem with getting them for who needs them and all that, but if there's any way we can figure out how to is there any way for one hotspot to reach multiple families when you get close to like 2 or 3 houses together, or is that even feasible?
That I would have to check into. Being honest with you, I hadn't thought of it. That's not a bad thing to think about. But one thing I do want stakeholders to realize is we can actually dial in to which devices can access these. So we can say that if you've got a student at home with 2 Chromebooks, that's the only 2 devices that can access that. So that may keep people from trying to use this for Netflix or Amazon Prime or something to that effect to make sure we're truly using it what's good for schools. But I'll check in to see how far that they go out.
Well, that's what I was getting at. If there's some way to hook it up to some sort of repeater or maybe say a subdivision or something that could possibly reach 4 or 5 houses,
That's a great idea, and we'll definitely check into that.
Good point. I joined the vote, passes 5-0. The next 2 items, 6B and C, we've discussed this at length. You want to make a quick statement what it's about, Mr. Rose?
Yes, this is something that's required. Matter of fact, there was just a ruling from the one of the appeals courts. Mr. Baker shared it with me a little bit ago. There's some changes in what Title IX definitions and stuff is going to be and the way things are done. And it's happening very quickly. Normally, this would have probably been waited till our next updates, which will probably be June of next year. So this is just an emergency for us to update policies to comply with the new rulings to provide the protections that's going to be required with this new law.
All right. We'll take the policy and the procedures that puts it in place as one motion. Do we have a motion to approve 6B?
I got a quick question. I noticed there on the KSBA notes, it said basically the cost here is just how the staff's going to be notified and trained about these changes. I guess we've got a plan for that.
Yes, KSBA actually is going to send that to us next.
Okay.
Any other questions? All right, we need a motion to approve 6B and 6C.
So moved, Bruce Smith.
Bruce, do we have a second?
Second, Win.
Wynn makes the second. Roll call vote. Wynn,
Yes.
Ricky,
Yes.
Bruce,
Yes.
and Alan.
Yes.
And I join it as well. Mr. Rowe takes 6D.
Yes, this is the second reading for board policies 4311 and 43111. This is basically allows us to be able to take electronic payment and make electronic deposits. And we discussed one thing, the KHSAA, if we do have sports, and they're still working on that as we speak, is not to do what we call the paper tickets, to do those electronically. And this just allows us to have the policies in place that if we go that route, that we would be able to do that.
Okay. Any comments or questions? I'll entertain a motion to approve as described.
Win makes the motion.
Wynn makes the motion. Second,
Second, Ricky.
Bruce.
Ricky. All right, roll call vote. Wynn,
Yes.
Ricky,
Yes.
Bruce,
Yes.
Alan,
Yes.
and I join them as well. 6E, preschool restructure. Mrs. Hahn did a good
Should be right
did a
here.
good job. Oh, she's on?
Yeah.
Did a good job last time, thorough explanation. Ms. Hahn, you want to come on and just give us a brief statement about that?
We can't hear you.
Better now?
There, much better. Thank you.
Hey. As we explained last time, we're just trying to restructure. We're trying to save some money and just move those positions around. The biggest difference is placing those family liaisons at the school is going to, we need an extra family liaison position, but we're not asking for a position. We're just actually changing the title of a current position to better suit the needs of the school. So they'll all be at schools. And so it saves an extensive amount of money and kind of combines some of the resources we already have. So
That's good. Ms. Hahn, we thank you as always. Any questions about that?
Just a couple of clarifications. I saw in your minutes there that the policy council had approved this on the 11th. Now, is that ERSEA disability specialist? Are you not going to call it the family service manager any longer?
no, we're going to just use that as another family liaison. And just, it was really the same thing. It just added those extra classrooms at Stanford. So we're just asking to leave it as a family liaison since we already have that job description, and just add those supplemental pieces to that in order, because they have so much more responsibility here at Stanford with the extra classrooms.
And then the last thing is that part of the salary for that district community liaison, is it no longer in the plan? I didn't see that in what they had approved. And it was like on that spreadsheet that we saw last week
The
for the family and community engagement coordinator.
Yes, that's on that stipend. It's really not any kind of stipend or anything like that. It's just we're going to pay that portion, a portion of that salary for the district. So we're not asking for a stipend. We're just actually going to pay a portion of that person that's already existing in that position.
So it is still in the plan then.
Yes, yes.
Thank you, Ms. Hahn. Do we have a motion to approve as was explained last week and today?
Win makes, okay, I'm sorry.
Go ahead, Win.
Okay, Win was gonna make the motion to approve.
Who's making second?
I'll make a second, but I'd like to make a comment.
Go ahead.
As far as the plan goes, we discussed it last week, those positions that you're combining, are we going ahead and abolishing the positions that aren't necessarily standalone at this time now?
Yes, that's on the agenda item there to abolish the technical assistance coordinator. And I think there's one other one on there.
Yes, it's the school readiness coordinator position.
Yeah, the school readiness coordinator position, because we're going to combine that with the curriculum specialist.
And the only reason I asked that about that part of that salary for that district community liaison person, it wasn't on here. So I was just curious if you had changed that.
We did not put that on the board agenda because it doesn't really require board approval. But it was on the policy council as far as budget goes, yes.
Alan, do you have another question? Okay. All right, let's take a vote on this. We got the motion second. Roll call vote. Win,
Yes.
Ricky,
Yes.
Bruce,
Yes.
Alan,
Yes.
and I join them as well. This is pretty routine, Mr. Rose. 6F emergency. certificate.
Yes, we're asking to be able to do an emergency certificate for a math teacher at the high school. Math teachers are extremely hard to come by. We have an applicant who actually has elementary math certification and is a few classes away from obtaining certification for high school also. And if the board approves this, this will allow this person to work as our math teacher and continue those classes to get those finished to get full certification. This is for a 1-year only emergency certificate.
Okay. It's a need there. Do we have a motion?
I got a quick question. Sorry about that. We had spoke in previous meetings about helping funding these teachers get their certification. Is this one that will fall in line with that, or is that for just dual credit certification?
We had talked mainly just for dual credit certification. We hadn't
Okay.
talked this route. Okay.
Thank you.
All right, I make a motion to approve.
Ricky makes a motion. Do we have a second?
Second, Bruce.
Bruce makes the second. Roll call vote. Win,
Yes.
Ricky,
Yes.
Bruce,
Yes.
Alan,
Yes.
and I join them as well. Any other questions, comments?
I would like to make one comment. I want to thank each of the board members. This has been a trying time getting the school together. I know you've heard a lot of things for stakeholders, which that's, I understand part of your job, but I also understand you all don't get paid a whole lot for what you do. And I just want to say I appreciate you for everything you've done to help to get school up and going for this school year.
Appreciate your comments as well. If nothing else, then we'll adjourn the meeting. Be safe.